Why is Nigeria's Kano holding a mass wedding? Around 1,500 couples got married in Nigeria's northwest Kano state at a ceremony organized by the governor. Officials say the initiative is aimed at supporting low-income families with the cost of marriage. But with national elections approaching next year, the event has also drawn attention for its political significance. DW West Africa correspondent Azeezat Olaoluwa went there and sent this report.
This is not your usual crowd. It's 3,000 people getting married in Nigeria's northwest Kano state, and they haven't spent a dime. But money isn't the main motivation for Muhammad, who is beaming with joy as he marries Amina, a widow, as his second wife. For him and his bride, it's a dream come true.
I
am so happy that today has finally come. Allah has made the wedding happen. I can't describe how glad I am right now. I love my bride, and she loves me too. She's a good person and a godly woman.
I thank Allah for showing me this day to marry the one I love. He's compassionate and a trustworthy person. I hope that God will also grant me the ability to obey Him and show Him abundant love and care.
The state-sponsored mass wedding is an initiative designed to help low-income families cover wedding costs, reduce immorality, and promote social stability. Each groom received around €64 to support dowry payments, while the brides got the same amount to start a trade. Since 2012, more than 7,000 couples have benefited from the marriage support program. This year's edition cost the government the equivalent of €1 million to cover medicals, counseling and marriage supplies, including wedding clothes for the couples. Although there are worries that some joined the wedding for the incentive, Mohammed says he is genuine.
I already had plans to marry a second wife, so if this mass wedding opportunity hadn't have occurred, I would still have done it. But it wouldn't have been now because I would have still needed time to prepare and save the necessary money.
While many commend the government for the initiative, some have questioned the spending, saying the people should be empowered instead. But that hasn't dampened the celebratory mood of the wedding. The two-day event kicked off on Friday inside the state's mosque, with only the grooms and other male worshippers allowed. I am standing outside because as a woman I am not allowed in. Not even the brides can be present. That's part of the culture here in Kano that practices Sharia law. The next day, it was all shades of color as the new couples filed out for their wedding reception hosted by the governor. With the presidential election campaign kicking off in a week, the event has clear political overtones. The caps worn by the grooms display the logo of President Bola Tinubu, who is seeking a re-election. But for many of the newlyweds, this is an unforgettable moment.
The support we will get from this wedding will serve as the foundation for building our lives, so we can provide for our families.
Thank you to the governor for organizing the wedding for us. May he richly be blessed for doing this.
This is a great opportunity for me because if the governor hadn't have helped with the expenses of the wedding, I don't know if I ever would have got married.
The mood here is a festive one as the couples are officially presented to the public, marking the beginning of a union that they can't, however, get out of unless they get the approval of the government that sponsored the mass wedding. Watching over matters is the Kano State Hisbah Board, a religious police force charged with enforcing the observance of Sharia law.
We at the Hisbah board won't accept any calls for divorce. They must stay married and take responsibility for their union so that it will work. If there's a problem, they must come to us for mediation and reconciliation.
The highlight of the mass wedding was the distribution of furniture, mattresses and food items to the couples for them to start off their marital journey.
God made our wedding wish come true, and I thank the governor for sponsoring it. I hope that only death will separate us.
For Mohammed, his hope is that both his old and new marriages will last forever.
All right, let's now bring in Azeezat Abiola Olaoluwa in Lagos. You saw her at the mass wedding in the report. And Uwais Idris is in Abuja. He schooled in Kano. Welcome, both of you, to the program. A bit jealous of you, Azeezat. There were 1,500 couples getting married in a single ceremony. That's a lot of love on display. How was that like?
Absolutely, Eddie. It was a lot of love on display, and I was right there capturing every moment. It felt surreal for me to be there, seeing the smiles on the bride's face and the pride on the faces of most of the grooms as well. So it's something, you rarely see, seeing that much number of people coming together the same day to get married. So I felt really happy covering it for DW News.
Right. And we were happy you were there. Uwais, I'm just wondering how common mass weddings like that are across northern Nigeria.
This is not common. It's very rare to see large number of people being wedded on the same day. It actually started during the political dispensation after Nigeria returned to democracy. It was started by Kano State in 2013 during a former governor who wedded about 700 number of girls and those who are qualified after a lot of screening. So we don't have it in any part of Nigeria. What we had was just small family wedding, not up to 10 people that are from the same family.
So why now, you think, that so many people were getting married?
Well, there are a lot of reasons. Number one, there is poverty because of the number of divorcees that you have in the society. In Islam, it is quite easy, I may say, but it's something which Allah dislikes most. It's easy to divorce because the marriage is so simple to get a wife. You pay a dowry, you get married tomorrow in the next 3 months. Then there is social issue as an intervention. The government see it as an intervention. And there is political undertone because most of these marriages are organized towards the election. Like this one, there were postponement about 3 times before they finally fix it, at a time when the situation, the political tension is already on, although campaign has not been started in Nigeria, but you can feel, you can see what is happening.
Right. Another situation where, some argue that politics and religion are connecting. I couldn't help, but notice, because, of course, you also mentioned it earlier to me, Aziza, that you couldn't even step inside the mosque to watch the men you'd come to cover get married. Explain to me why and how it made you feel.
Well, in Nigeria, the Nigerian society is simply patriarchal. But as a southern Nigerian woman going to the northern region, I'm not being allowed to do my work simply because of my gender. That made me feel very bad. And I did not see any woman around the premises of the mosque during the wedding ceremony because the grooms were inside with other friends signing the marriage documents. No one was allowed. And I had to ask why that was. And most of the people there told me it's cultural, that women are not expected to be there. So perhaps over the years, over the decades, they accepted that norm, that stance that women are not supposed to be, brides especially, are not even allowed to witness the solemnization of their own wedding.
Right. What also got my attention was the Hisbah board says that these couples won't be allowed to divorce without state approval. That sounds to me a lot like control. Is that something people widely accept?
Absolutely. The couples accepted it because their defense is that they are actually in love, and that is why they participated in the mass wedding. But from my findings, I discovered that some of the couples that participated in previous editions of the mass weddings are already divorced for different reasons. One is economic challenges. Some will understand that they divorced very early into the marriage because they were in it for the incentives in the first place. And some just said that they had irreconcilable differences. So going back into the pool of divorcees, one of the factors that the government wants to address with this program.
To be honest, there's so many more questions I want to ask you to really get to understand the situation on the ground. But it's been lovely talking to you guys to give us some sort of idea. Azeezat Olaoluwa in Lagos and Uwais Idris in Abuja. Thank you.